Right leg lock.
The 2016 FIA Asia-Pacific Rally Championship belonged to Indian driver Gaurav Gill and his manufacturer-supported MRF Tyres Skoda rally team. In this episode, we review the season for Gill and for the rest of the top 10 drivers on the final points table for the FIA Asia-Pacific Rally Cup, powered by WÜRTH. Three drivers finished 10th equal with 20 points apiece. However, it was Makoto Kawahara from Japan in his Mitsubishi Evo 9 who had the best result of the trio, finishing 4th. In 9th with 24 points was Chinese driver Wang Hua, who drove his Citroen R5 to 3rd overall in China Rally. 8th in the WÜRTH Cup points was Jari Ketama from Finland, who debuted a newly developed Mitsubishi Mirage in the Malaysian Rally and finished in 2nd place. Although not FIA homologated, the Mirage is built to R5 specifications, and there are plans for more of these small, light and agile cars in the 2017 APRC. Last year's Asia Cup winner, Hitoshi Takayama from Japan, was planning a full campaign in the 2016 Asia Cup, but sadly could only manage 2 events due to a lack of funding. Nevertheless, a 5th place in the torturous China Rally was a great result against much quicker R5 Skodas and Citroens. And with his status as an Asia Cup contender, Takayama did get to celebrate on the podium. At his home event in Hokkaido, Takayama was hoping to finish in the top 3. But although he was 2nd fastest on 2 stages, he just missed his goal, finishing 4th. Japan was also a disappointing home event for Yuya Sumiyama, although, to be fair, he was driving a brand new Cusco-built Toyota Vitz AP4 car that was still being assembled and tested just days before the rally. A 3rd fastest time on the first stage of day 2 was the only high point. Cusco opted not to send the Toyota to Malaysia, where Sumiyama instead drove a new model Subaru Impreza. He was rewarded for his patience and endurance with a 3rd place finish. Another podium finish was looking likely for the Cusco driver at India Rally, but once again Sumiyama was hampered by mechanical problems, the Subaru suffering with leaking brake lines throughout the event. Sumiyama did make the finish though, his 4th place overall, enough to take his points total to 37. On the same points, for 5th equal in the WÜRTH Cup, was Manfred Stoll from Austria. In the China Rally, his previous experience on the desert event saw Stoll take the lead on the first stage, building on it right through day 1. While most other competitors had problems, Stoll had a clean run and eventually won the China Rally by a massive 5 minutes. He and his Citroen team celebrated the win in typical Chinese fashion. After a year off due to illness, Indian driver Sanjay Takali returned in 2016, back with Cusco Racing to do a full Asia-Pacific campaign in a Group N Subaru Impreza. His championship hopes didn't get off to a great start, thanks to an engine problem on day 1 of the New Zealand first round.
Good morning.
Restarting on day 2, Takali then had what looked like a minor brush with a bridge, but it resulted in a puncture, which in turn later in the stage saw him unable to get the car turned in time and saw him hit a bank.
Okay.
Sadly for the Cusco driver, it led to his 2nd retirement in 2 days.
It happens in racing, you know, so it's all the part of the game and you should move forward, I think.
1, 2, 3.
And move on he did, first to Queensland, Australia and the Sunshine Coast. After Takali's DNF in New Zealand, Queensland was going to be about rebuilding confidence, and the dry conditions on day one were ideal. Then it was into survival mode for the final day, when the Queensland weather changed completely. And adding to the challenge, Takali's Subaru suffered a broken drive shaft. Finishing was all that mattered though, and in the pouring rain, Takali looked at the positives.
Oh, I think I'm very, very happy, I think so. After the small drama we had.
Takali decided to skip the next APRC event in China, instead opting to compete at a European Rally Championship event in Estonia, where his co-driver was his Cusco teammate, Mike Young. A second in class was a great result. But more importantly, Takali returned to the APRC for the Japanese round full of confidence and improved speed on the fast Hokkaido roads. However, it was the next event in Malaysia where Takali really shone. Clearly almost back to full fitness, he didn't suffer in the heat as much as other drivers and consistently set top 5 times to finish 4th overall, second of the APRC registered drivers and winner of the Malaysian Rally Championship round.
Well, I think I can't ask anything better than this. This is the best I can get, I think so. And I've never been so high in my career, so I'll go on a very happy note from here.
Takali's home event, the Coffee Day India Rally, was next, and like the other Group N drivers, Takali initially suffered with brake problems, resulting in this close call on day one.
Okay, no brakes.
With changes made to the brakes during service, Takali was back up to speed for the rest of the event, finishing the final round of the year on the podium, third in the APRC and first in the India Rally Championship round.
So this was one event I want to drive in front of my friends, families and all. So everybody very happy.
Coming up are the top 3 drivers of the season. After finishing second overall for the past 2 seasons, Mike Young was hoping for a good start to his Asia-Pacific Championship campaign at his home event in New Zealand. But 10 metres after the start of the very first stage, his Subaru stopped with an electrical problem. Young copped 14 minutes in time penalties and with little to lose, went on attack over the following 2 days, winning several stages outright and hauling himself back up to 3rd place. And he was exactly 14 minutes and 10 seconds behind rally winner Gaurav Gill.
After the trouble we had on Friday night and now to show our pace, I was pretty happy with that. You know, it's been a tough weekend for us, but I think overall the result was good and the speed is there.
Mike Young and Malcolm Reid on their way from New Zealand.
Australia was next, and this time things went a little more to plan for Young. The weather on day 2 was wild and very wet. However, Young was able to use the increasingly treacherous conditions to consolidate his position, driving over the finish ramp in 3rd place. After co-driving for Takali at Rally Estonia, Young then flew straight to China Rally, where he had a complete change of car, team, co-driver and engine power. The New Zealander had been invited by Chinese battery and car manufacturer BYD to drive a hybrid rally car. The first time technology of this type had been used in an FIA International Rally.
It's like you're all in red, a different colour.
Yeah, a very unique opportunity for me and one I really appreciate. We're here with a BYD team and a hybrid car, so it's pretty exciting stuff. It's something very new to rallying and I'm really looking forward to the challenge.
Hybrid battery technology can produce tremendous power. However, the energy use needs to be carefully managed as the batteries don't last for a whole day's rallying, especially in the heat of the China desert. With just 2-wheel drive and a large bank of batteries on board, meaning it was also carrying a lot of extra weight, the BYD was not the fastest car in the event. But Young certainly put it through its paces on this very tough desert event to finish 6th overall. Representatives from BYD were presented with the inaugural APRC New Energy Cup powered by WÜRTH. Encouraged by the result, the APRC has confirmed an Alternative Energy Cup will be an official category of the 2017 Championship. On to round 4, Rally Hokkaido in Japan, where Young was reunited with his Subaru and his Cusco Easy Racing team. For the first 7 stages on the very fast Hokkaido roads, Young and co-driver Malcolm Reed were in 2nd place, until they hit a deep rut on stage 8 and punctured a tyre.
It just popped off at the end there, front A.
They lost over 40 seconds and over the next day and a half went about regaining that time, finally finishing 3rd overall and easily winning the production class. Next up was Malaysia, and with the event running 2 months later than usual, heavy rain was a definite possibility for the rally, as Young's recce footage suggests. As it turned out, day 1 was hot and dusty, Young using the dry conditions to his advantage to be on track for another podium finish.
100.
But the first stage of day 2 ruined that, as Young became a victim of one of the many traps in the Malaysian rally, its hidden deep ditches. The Subaru was stuck fast. Young's Cusco teammates tried pulling the stranded car out, but when Takali nearly ended up in the ditch as well, it was time to call it quits. The coffee plantation roads of India Rally were next, very different from anything else on the championship. After 160 kilometres of these tight and twisty tracks, Young was sitting 2nd at the end of day 1. Following the disappointment of Malaysia, Young was looking to finish the season on a high. But before achieving that goal, there was one more challenge for the young Kiwi driver. This heavy landing on the first stage of day 2 was the possible cause of a power steering failure. Thanks to the ingenuity of co-driver Reed, a qualified mechanic, roadside repairs and some engine oil in the power steering unit kept the pair in the event and saved their 2nd place.
Yeah, we're very, very happy. Our 2nd place overall is very good. The Cusco Easy Racing car has been really awesome all year, and I really thank them for their support.
After 6 very different events, Young was 3rd overall in the WÜRTH Cup with 119 points. Also winner of the FIA APRC Production and Junior Cups. For the past 4 years, Skoda has supported the MRF Tyres team's Asia-Pacific Rally campaign, not only to win, but also because Skoda sees the series as ideal for training and evaluating new drivers for its WRC campaign.
All the rallies are unique, they are special. And I think the APRC Championship is a very good chance for all the drivers, and all the rallies are on a very good level.
For 2016, Skoda offered the APRC drive to 23-year-old Fabian Krime from Germany.
Yeah, I drive the FIA 5 since May 2015, but only on tarmac, and now it's the first time on gravel.
New Zealand roads are very fast, and being one of the first competitors on the stage, Krime found them very slippery. The Skoda driver took time to adjust to the lack of grip, but over the 2 days steadily increased his pace and eventually finished 2nd overall. Australia offered a different challenge, forestry tracks that were sometimes as fast as the New Zealand roads, and then other areas that were tight and twisty.
En long line links 3.
On the 2nd day, Krime discovered how slippery it could be in the wet. But even after this half spin, he didn't back off. The result was another 2nd place and more knowledge of gravel surfaces for the young German. And in complete contrast to the rain in Australia, the next rally delivered dry desert roads in Western China. The fast open tracks through the desert have very few reference points, making them hard to read. And Crime made a small mistake near the beginning of stage 4, sliding off the road. There was no hint of panic from co-driver Frank Christian, and quick reactions from Crime saw the Skoda regain the road unscathed, but it was a close call. Unfortunately, later that day, Crime's Skoda suddenly emitted a trail of white smoke, the telltale sign of a blown turbo. It was a bitter blow for the young German's title campaign. He was forced to pull over and stop in the stage. The only thing he could do was phone the team with the bad news. Japan's soft forestry roads were next, another new experience for Crime. These were fast and narrow tracks, the cars blasting through the vegetation and trees. Initially, Crime trailed Young and Gill as he worked out the right pace. By the afternoon, Crime had fought his way past Young in the Group N car, but there wasn't much he could do about Gill, who'd already established a 2-minute lead. For the third time, Crime finished second to his more experienced teammate Gill. But he was doing everything asked of him by Skoda, winning some stages and at the same time improving his skills on loose gravel surfaces. Coming from a relatively temperate climate of Central Europe to the hot, sticky and humid Malaysia conditions can be quite a shock. However, Crime prepared well for that and from the first stage went on attack. For the first morning he was not far off Gill's pace, but on stage 6 he understeered into a small bank, quickly grabbed reverse and was on his way again. However, 4 kilometres from the finish line, the Skoda's gearbox jammed in first gear and Crime was forced to crawl the car through the remainder of the stage and retire. On to India and his team sponsor's home event. Crime took the honours in the first spectator stage at Amber Valley School, but on the plantation roads had to give way to his more experienced teammate Gill. Unfortunately, on stage 4, Crime's Skoda got light over a crest, hit a rock wall on the outside and spun 180 degrees. His Skoda ended up hooked to a tow truck, pulled out of the stage and returned to the service park for repairs. He was back in action on day 2 for his sponsors, winning 3 stages outright and putting on a show for the large number of local fans. Although he had his share of off-road excursions, Crime was very happy with his first year in the APRC, finishing second overall and hoping to return in 2017.
Yeah, I think it was very good experience for us to drive on every APRC round. And now I hope we can have a good program for next year.
Stay with us. After the break, we review the 2 champions and their season. Gaurav Gill from India has been driving Skoda Fabias since 2012, and he was looking forward to driving the new turbocharged R5 version for 2016.
The new car is obviously a big delight and a big step above what we've been driving in the last few years.
It didn't take Gill long to get on the pace at the first event in New Zealand, leading from the first stage. A puncture that cost him 40 seconds near the end of day 1 was the only major mishap.
And finish.
The MRF driver arrived at the final finish control, delighted to have won his first international rally in the new car by over 30 seconds.
But it's good fun to drive it for the first time and be on top.
Rally Queensland was next, and although it had rained for recce and the stages were initially slippery, the sun came out on Saturday afternoon, baking the road surface dry. Gill raced away to a 1 minute and 50-second lead. That was the best of the weather though. The forecast predicted a dramatic change, as Gill's co-driver Glenn McNeil showed us.
Fairly extensive in the the yellow is quite heavy, and the blue as well is the darker blue is obviously pretty heavy as well. So yeah, it's a couple of hours away from us at the moment, but it might get interesting about 10:30, 11 o'clock, which could be fun.
Slippery conditions didn't seem to worry Gill though, as he increased his winning margin to over 2 minutes and took out his second win of the season. With the APRC China Rally shifting to a new remote location in the west of the country and based in the ancient city of Zhangyi, there was an air of adventure around the event. And once the action began, the excitement increased, not only because of the lunar-like landscape, but also because of the camels that Gill encountered on the stages.
4- right.
Not just once, but twice. The second encounter forcing him to go off-road.
Right through the dip.
Near the end of the 34-kilometre stage 6, Gill broke a wheel, and he and co-driver McNeil were forced to pull over and change it. Gill was soon back up to full speed, but with 4.5 minutes lost, it was the one event of the year that Gill did not win outright. However, as the leading registered APRC driver, he did collect full points for the Drivers' Trophy and the Asia Cup. On to a more familiar event, Japan's Rally Hokkaido, where Gill had competed many times. But there was still a major change. For this one event, Gill had a stand-in co-driver, Belgian Stefan Prévost. The new pairing took the lead from the second stage and pushed hard through the first day to establish a good overnight buffer. Gill's season had so far been blemish-free, but on the final afternoon he came perilously close to retirement with this off.
Go, go, go.
The MRF Skoda driver eased off on the final stages to ensure there were no more problems, arriving back to his elated team, having secured his third overall win of the season. Like many other drivers, Gill has had his share of problems in Malaysia over the years. However, apart from the slippery plantation tracks, it was the long grass growing on them that was his biggest concern. With Gill running first on the road, the Skoda's front spoiler scooped up the grass, which quickly blocked the radiator inlets, just as it had in the past, especially on the second stage.
Yep. It's a 117 to 150, just back up a little bit.
Thankfully, there were no long-term issues for the engine and gearbox, and with his main championship rival out of contention on day one, Gill only had to make the finish of the Malaysian Rally to secure the Drivers' Championship and at the same time wrap up the manufacturer's title for Skoda. There were plenty of in-car celebrations as they crossed the finish line.
Hold on, mate.
Woohoo! Yes! Yeah, baby.
For a second time, Gill is the FIA Asia-Pacific Rally Champion.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
We got a perfect car and perfect tyres all through the year. Glenn did an amazing job. So it's been a great package, and now to India to attack the last round.
Arriving in India for the final round was a special occasion, as it meant that when Gill crossed over the start ramp, it signalled the return of international rallying to one of the world's most populous nations. With Gill leading the event almost the entire way, the India Rally turned out to be a real celebration, with hundreds of spectators and fans lining the tracks, all out to watch their new national hero in action. The finish ceremony was very special, with Gill able to celebrate the year's successes with family and friends. Adding to the celebration was Glenn McNeil winning the FIA APRC co-drivers title for 2016. Fittingly, the APRC's incoming president, Vicky Chandok from India, presented the official FIA trophies to Gill and McNeil. Gill's 5 outright wins, plus a second place in China, meant he added the WÜRTH Cup to his list of trophies for 2016. After one of his best and most successful years in the championship, Gill put it down to a new approach, in and out of the car.
I made a lot of effort on my driving. From the previous years, I've been doing a lot of homework, a lot of data collection, and a lot of looking at my previous videos. And yeah, for sure, the new R5 suits my driving style. I've made a lot of changes to it. We made some really good decisions on the tire choices through the year, and it's been great again working with Glenn throughout the year, and it's absolutely fantastic.
That wraps up the 6 events of the 2016 FIA Asia-Pacific Rally Championship. Be sure to join us in 2017.
4, 3, 2, 1. Into right, late, long.